We come to the 9th of the 10th, which is truthfulness. Rasoolullah, his title. What was his title? As-Sadiqul Ameen. As-Sadiqul Ameen. The truthful and the trustworthy. What is truth? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Al-Haq. Allah said, وَقُولِ الْحَقُّ مِنْ رَبِّكُمْ. Say the truth is your Rabb. And that is the reason why La ilaha illallah is a reflection of the truth. The one who accepts this is truthful. The one who denies it is untruthful. That is why the word kafir, for example, or the word mushrik, is a definition term. It's not an insult. In Arabic, you call a farmer kafir. Not because he's not a Muslim. Because he hides the seed. He buries the seed. So the one who buries the seed is called it's not a critical term. That's his job. That is what he does. He plants the seed. He's called a kafir because he is doing this. He is burying this. Buried. So the kafir is the one who denies the truth. And what is the truth? Al-Haqqu min Rabbikum. Your Rabb is the Haqq. The one who says there is no God is denying the truth. The one who's combining somebody with the Qudrat of Allah is again denying the truth, and he is doing something else which is sharik. He's a mushrik because he is making sharik. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called the day of judgment the day of truth. Why? For two reasons. Firstly, because that day will happen. ذَلِكَ الْيَوْمُ الْحَقِّ فَمَنْ شَاءَ اتَّخَذَ إِلَىٰ رَبِّهِ مَآبًا. Let the day of judgment is the haqq, is truth, and let the one who believes in that make a way towards his Rabb. Let him do what needs to be done. So it is called Al-Yawmul Haqq. Why? Because first of all it will happen. It is the day of truth, and secondly because on that day only truth will prevail. There is no injustice on the day of judgment. La zulma al-yawm, Allah said, there is no zulm on this day. Only truth will prevail. Injustice, lying, cheating will not work. No deception on the day of judgment. Now truthfulness is the quality of all the Anbiya. There is no Nabi who lied. There is no Nabi who was not truthful. But truthfulness is a very special quality of Rasoolullah ﷺ, the defining quality of Muhammad ﷺ. And again, millions of examples, but some of the finest examples are in the revelation of the Quran itself. There are ayat in the Quran, for example, the opening ayat of Surah Al-Abasa, the opening ayat of Surah Tahrim, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed ayat which were, with due respect I am saying, they were critical of Rasulullah ﷺ. In Surah Abasa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed ayat in the beginning of the surah saying that my Nabi frowned at the blind man. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sitting with some of the shurafa of the Quraysh, some of the wealthy people of Quraysh, when Abdullah bin Maktoum radhiyallahu anhu, he came into the masjid, and he was a blind man, and he came to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't want to be disturbed in that meeting, so he turned and he looked at Abdullah bin Maktoum, and he had a frown on his face. Now remember, the man is blind, he can't see that. So he does not know that the Prophet ﷺ frowned. And Nabi ﷺ did not do anything else. He didn't say anything to him, he didn't treat him in any way. So the man has no clue what has happened. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the ayat, and he said that my Nabi frowned, but maybe the poor man is more deserving of your company because he is in search of truth, whereas these rich people are not going to come to the truth no matter what, and so on and so forth. If you read the opening passages of Surah Al-Abasa, you will see this. Now, point being here of truthfulness, the ayat were revealed. The ayat referred to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam personally. Allah did not even say that tell people that they should not frown. He didn't say this. He said this is what my Nabi did. The man who was within quotes supposedly the recipient of this frown was not even aware it happened. Why did Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam tell people that these are the ayat, when they did not reflect on him positively? That is the greatest mark of truthfulness of the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. What kalam came to him, he conveyed. Yatlu alayhim ayatihi, Allah said, make tilawat of the ayat which have come to you, he said this. Whether those ayat reflected on him positively or negatively, so to speak, he conveyed. Similarly, ayat of Surah Tahrim, opening ayat, Sayyidah Aisha and Sayyidah Hafsa radiallahu anhuma, they did not like Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam going to Sayyidah Zainab, I believe that is the other wife that they had an issue with. So she used to, when Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam went there, Sayyidah Zainab used to give him honey, water mixed with honey, which he liked to drink. So when he came here, these two made a pact, and they said, when he comes to you or me, and we'll tell him, Ya Rasulullah, there is some smell from your mouth, which is unpleasant. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was extremely sensitive to unpleasant smells. So he said, okay, I will not drink this thing. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, you have made haram on yourself what Allah made halal because of your wives. Now again, this is not a general hukum for people, it is not a matter of ibadah, it is not a matter of aqidah, nothing. But these ayat came, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam communicated them as they came, without any change. And that is the quality of truthfulness, and that's why La ilaha illallah is a reflection of truthfulness. Final point of now before we come to that, let me talk about one more incident of this issue of truthfulness. It's very, very important, which refers to also being truthful not only in word but also in action. Abdullah bin Abi Sarh was one of the Sahaba of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He was a brother because they both went to he and Uthman bin Affan, they were what we call milk brothers. So they had the nurse from the same mother. Now Abdullah bin Abi Sarh he became Muslim. He used to even record wahi. Then he left Islam. He became Murtad, went back to Makkah, and then he started writing stuff and saying that this is wahi. So it was a very serious, extremely repugnant action. So he was one of the 7 who were sentenced to death by Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So when after Fatah Makkah, so now Abdullah bin Abi Sarh went to his brother Uthman bin Affan, and he said, save me. So Sayyidina Uthman said, look, I will take you to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, you go and accept Islam. So he covered him up, he mounted him on the mule of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and he took him to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and sat him down before Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. There Abdullah bin Abi Sarh took off his niqab, and he said, Ya Rasulullah, I have come to accept Islam, please accept me in Islam. La ilaha illallah wa ashhadu annaka Rasulullah. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam kept silent. Abdullah bin Abi Sarh said it a second time. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is surrounded by people, there are lots of people there. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam remained silent. He said it a third time. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam still remained silent. He said it a fourth time, when Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam took his hand and accepted his Islam. So he accepted Islam, the man became Muslim, therefore automatically all his sins are forgiven, the death sentence is gone. Abdullah bin Abi Sarh left the place. From that moment onwards, he became a very good Muslim. Alhamdulillah, he lived a good Muslim all his life. During the Khilafah of Uthman ibn Affan, he was an army commander, he was a governor, and he died in Salatul Fajr. So Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him a good ending also. And this is the Qudrat of Allah. Somebody who becomes a murtad and fabricates wahi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives him Jannah. This is a mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anyway, so when this happened and when the man left, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said to the Sahaba, he said, could not one of you have taken off this man's head? Didn't you realize that I was giving you time to do that? I did not accept his Islam 3 times. They said, Ya Rasulullah, we didn't realize that. Because they are not used to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, ordering anything. They said, Ya Rasulullah, we did not realize that. One of them said, Ya Rasulullah, you should have simply signaled with your eyes. You should have winked or something. We would have known. Right? Some way you should have signaled with your eyes. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's reaction is what? He said, it is not the way of the Anbiya to signal with their eyes. So even deception by a gesture, a minimal gesture, was not something that Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did. And that's the reason why one hadith Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, do not lie even as a joke, because you get used to it. 1 lie, 2 lie, 3 lies, you get used to it, and then you start lying, and then you become known as a liar, and that's a very, very bad thing. And that's the reason why in the famous hadith, somebody asked Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he said, Ya Rasulullah, can a Muslim commit murder? He said, yes. He said, can a Muslim commit zina? He said, yes. Can a Muslim drink alcohol? He said, yes. Can a Muslim steal? He said, yes. He said, Ya Rasulullah, what is it that the Muslim cannot do? Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, he cannot tell a lie. He cannot tell a lie. When I first heard this hadith, I used to think, what is so, all of these other things are much more serious. Until I realized that As-Sadiqul Ameen, the truthful and the trustworthy, is the title of Rasulullah himself. And this is the title that he gave to his own ummah. Who is a Muslim? As-Sadiqul Ameen. Imagine, this is the honor that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam gave us. So don't lose it by telling lies. A man came to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, young man, and he came here, he said, Ya Rasulullah, I'm full of all kinds of things. He said, I do zina, I gamble, I drink alcohol, and so on, so on. I don't want to do all this, but I'm stuck. I'm like this. What can I do? I'm very weak. But tell me, I can leave one thing. I can't leave everything. Just one thing. What should I leave out of all this? Muslim guy. Rasulullah said to him, leave telling lies. Don't tell lies. So I thought, okay, this is easy. And he's not told me to leave anything else. Now he goes home. In the evening, he wants to go to his hangout place where he drinks with his friends. Then he thinks to himself, if tomorrow I meet Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and he asks me, where were you last evening? What will I tell him? I can't go and tell him I was drinking. No, I can't do that. Very shameful. So he didn't go there. And the same thing happened for all. Anytime he wanted to do something, he used to, if the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam meets me and asks me, what will I tell him? So I promised him I will not tell a lie. So I am telling the truth. And this truth is so shameful. How do I tell him? One thing which he gave up, which is telling lies, saved him from everything else. That is the benefit of not telling lies. Think about this. Why do we lie? We lie because we know we are wrong. No? Otherwise why will you lie? If you know you are right, you are right. You lie because you know you are wrong. So instead of making tawbah, instead of correcting yourself, instead of apologizing to somebody, depending on what kind of thing you are lying about, you start telling lies. You try to hide, and it is lie upon lie upon lie. You build this until it collapses on top of your head. What is the biggest problem with telling lies? Is that you build a culture of suspicion. This is what our world is today. What do we teach our children? Trust nobody. The Sahaba did not live in a world where they had to tell somebody trust nobody. They trust everybody. Because people don't lie. I mentioned this before in a khutbah and so on. When I first went to South Africa, I was I'm invited all over the place. So one of the places I invited was there were a lot of judges and senior advocates. One of them said to me that there was a time in this country during the apartheid, which was the white Protestant government, which was white supremacy government. And they were very religious people. Their apartheid was part of their religion. So anti-black segregation and so on. So he said during that time, he said a Muslim, when he had to bear witness in court, a Muslim did not have to swear on the Bible or on the Quran. He did not need to take an oath to give witness. Why? Because they said Muslims don't lie. So who is saying this? A Christian government. A Christian is not given that privilege. A Christian has to put his hand on the Bible and say, I swear to speak the truth and nothing but the truth. But the Muslim in a Christian government does not have to take the oath when he is bearing witness, because they said Muslims don't lie. Very sadly, no longer the case. Muslims also have to swear and take an oath. They swear, a different meaning of that. Swear too much, that's why they have to take an oath. But it shows how proper. So telling lies builds a culture of suspicion. And of course, final point is, if you don't lie, you don't need a good memory. Nothing. You don't have to remember, what is the whole story I built up. No, the truth. That is the truth.